Great. Doctor, seems we've lost Dr. Maka. Well, that brings me to the next question, which is we've already alluded to the fact that technology has come to stay, and technology has a way of influencing a lot of things around us. In fact, some people say technology or things like broadband has become an all-purpose vehicle where virtually every sector relies on technology. And there is a perspective from the organized labor. And of course, the organized labor is a bit apprehensive. I mean, they are, of course, suggesting the adoption of future work with a human face. We all know what automation is. Technology is about automation. And organized labor is advocating for adoption of future work with a human face. They are advocating for increase in investment on workforce, increase in investment on workplace, and things like job retention. You know, I tell you my personal experience. And some decades ago, when I joined the banking industry, the bank I joined just got fully automated. And so some people found themselves in a very difficult situation that they couldn't cope with the automation, they had to leave. Others that were ready to upskill and reskill were retained. Eventually, of course, those who couldn't perform had to be laid off. And so these are some of the apprehensions, by the organization, I mean, by organized labor, for instance. In your own opinion, what are some of the best approaches to be adopted by organization to assuage the apprehensions of organized labor, particularly on job loss?
Go ahead, Ryan, go ahead.
Chair, I reflected on that, and digital literacy is on my tongue, and I think HR practitioners have a role to play in that. I'm an educator as well as an HR professional, and I'm thinking, so in my country, for example, there is a lot of what I consider misuse of some of the technologies that we had, and Ian just spoke about the downloading, phenomena, and so our young people tend to misuse a lot of the technologies. So, for example, we have this thing in our school called tablets in schools, and what the report actually found was that the tablets were issued, but the students were using them for the wrong means. I'm going to make that link because as HR practitioners, we have that role to help, for example, our employees to have their children, for example, understand what is expected of them in terms of work and the changes that are happening in work and the dynamism of the environment in which they're going to come into when they grow into adults to work. And so I think the mindset has to be changed in terms of how we're going to use technologies, how we're going to embrace technologies. And I always say to my students, for example, and my employees, it is going to become an environment of the fittest of the fit. And so that for me answers the point that you're making. We're going to have to change how it is that we see work, how it is that we prepare ourselves to work, how it is that we prepare our next generation for work, because I think we're misusing the technology that we have, which could be to our advantage.
Thank you. Ian, any view on this?
Yeah, Chair, I was thinking about as you spoke about the loss of jobs coming from the lack of adaptation of technology or people not willing or unable to make transitions. And one of the things I want to suggest is for us is to think about how do we encourage content creation. Let me explain. In every organization, and every country, there are people who are good in specific things. So what we have to do is, for example, there are people who are good at adaptation to IT. Encourage them to produce a video course on IT adaptation, use of Excel. That is in a local language. That is something that local people can consume. So Dr. Maka, for example, if you can hear me, you have a small percentage of IT people. Get them to produce IT training locally, right? And that gives them the capacity, one, to earn an income if you want. The government can earn an income depending on how you want to structure it. But what it does, it builds the capacity of the organization or of the country. So you are able now to spread that knowledge and be in a position where you have people who are not just theoretically inclined, but are practically skilled to be able to function and develop nationally. So I mean, we've just, we've gone into we've created an online platform in terms of a training platform over the last year and a half, and it took a lot of learning from me. I mean, I have an IT and a technology background, but I think we are missing the opportunity to take the people that we have who have capacity and ability and give them a global platform by helping them to create content based on the skills that they have so they can build their organizations and build our nations.
Yeah. No, thank you very much for all the insights. I understand we are running out of time, and so it is time for us to really wrap up. But I also want to point out a very important issue here is because what is the role of the CTO, I mean the Secretariat, in terms of providing awareness to the Commonwealth countries, as well as providing training interventions for things like the future of work. I believe this should provide a great opportunity for the CTO Secretariat to think and come up with very innovative intervention in terms of training, development, and some other interventions for for the Commonwealth countries, so as to bring them up to speed. I know technology is a function of the level of development of a country, but then there are certain things that can be adopted, and I want to encourage the CTO to really think and come up with some innovative interventions to be provided to the Commonwealth countries, so as to bring them up to speed in terms